What's up everyone, I am Hunter and welcome to the Sportsman. In today's episode, I will be giving you a quick tutorial on how to properly skin a deer. So without further ado, let's begin. So the first thing you want to do when you're skinning a deer is you always want to saw off the legs first. So for this example, we're going to be looking at the front legs. Where you want to saw at precisely is just slightly below the knee, which is right here. In some cases, if the deer's frozen, you can saw it off here if you want. But you want to try and make sure you saw here, so that way you can save any preservable meat that's on the deer. So let's go ahead and move on to the back legs right here. So for the back legs, you want to make sure that you cut precisely below the knuckle. Never cut directly where the tendon or the knuckle's connected, because you'll need this in order to hang the deer up. Because if you cut it like this, then the deer will become useless to hang up. So now that we got all the legs down and for due, let's go ahead and move on to actually skinning it, shall we? So let's flip them over. Go ahead and get a trusty gut hook right here. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take a gut hook right here and then put it precisely right here, and then you slice it across the whole leg like this. I want to make sure you try and get as much as you can. There you go. So moving on to the other leg. So do the same thing this side. Take the gut hook and then slice it all the way across right like this. There we go. And so now let's move on to the front. So we're going to take the gut hook and we're going to slice across the chest like this. If the deer has not been sliced like that already. Want to make sure we go as down as possible to where right his lower jaw connects his neck. So next thing we want to do is go ahead and use our trusty knives. We'll take this type of knife right here, just called the Long John, as I like to call it. So what we're going to do is we're going to carefully slice across here. Oh, before we do, I have my trusty safety gloves right here. These are the anti-cut gloves. Help prevent my fingers from being sliced. So safety first. All right, so where were we? Okay, so you want to take a knife like this and carefully slice the legs like this. You want to go all the way up to their chest and just like that. You do the same to the other side. Do the same from here. I'll go ahead and slice around here real quick. And go ahead and get into that. So now that we got this, let's go ahead and move on to the front legs. And we'll use our trusty mule skinner right here to help out with this. Now in some cases, if the deer is warm enough, usually you can skip the front leg step, but this deer is quite cold. So for this video, we're going to be skinning the front legs. So you just want to carefully slice around here. See these little stringy particles right here? That's where you want to cut them. Try to avoid cutting the pelt as much as possible so you don't accidentally damage anything. So we're just gonna move carefully around here. And then, there we go. Now, in some cases, if you really want to make it quick and easy, you can just pull the hide right off the leg like this. There we go, easy peasy, ooh so breezy. So let's move on to leg number 2. We'll do the exact same thing to that side.
Who won in 2020?
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing to that side. We're going to pull the hide off this one. There we go. So now we can move on to the neck or the front chest. So the best place we're going to start this operation is right here. So we're going to go ahead and slice around the stringy particle areas. And we're going to go as carefully as possible. See, since this guy wants a European mount, we're not going to worry about the pelt too much, but you always want to try and do your best to not damage the hide. All right. Good thing this deer is somewhat warm, because this will make it a lot easier to skin out. And also, almost forgot to mention, what you want to do is once you're skinning along this area, you always try to skin right in between the meat and the hide. Try to get as much off as you can. And if you get a little bit of chunks of meat on it, that's fine. Try not to leave too much meat on there, because this is all valuable meat you want to save. So we're going to go ahead and drop them off here. Alright, so we're pretty much done with this for now. So let's go ahead and move on to the other side. So we're going to do the exact same thing, just like we did to that side. Carefully go around here. Cut in between the stringy articles and the meat. Now to make this job a lot easier, let's go ahead and flip it over. So, in order to make this easier, once we reach the area where we slice down, we'll go ahead and cut along the neck right here so we can remove the pelt, just to make the skinning job a lot easier. And we're going to go underneath, cut along here, try not to leave too much meat on there. Alright, so let's go ahead and flip him over around on his other side. There we go. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to make sure we get the entire neck all skinned out. Once we get the neck all skinned out, we'll move on to using a winch to pull the skin off. Alright. So there we go. Now that the neck's all skinned out, let's go ahead and use our special trusty winch. This right over here is our special trusty winch that we use to pull the skin off of the whole deer. It just makes the job a whole lot easier, so that way we won't have to worry about manually skinning it. So it saves us a lot of time. Alright. So let's go ahead and pull it, shall we? Oh, wrong button. There we go. cow. That doesn't get any better than this. And now we want to make sure we cut along the edges right here, so that way we can expose the whole legging. I tell you, the winch does get the job done. Now, a winch is optional and all, but it does do a really good job. So let's go ahead and move on to the tail, shall we?
Who invented your winch design?
My grandfather, Ken Kimball, invented the winch, which is a perfect way to help skin these deer. So when removing the tail, the easiest option would be to use the handsaw. So that way we won't have to waste any more time trying to find the joint. And now, let's go ahead and move on to the head. We're going to go ahead and cut this guy's head off so that way we can give him his European mount. Let's go ahead and take the handsaw. Alright. So we're going to take the saw and we're just going to cut right here, right where the chain left its mark. And there you go. So now, there's one final step before we're officially done. We need to check, oh, look at this. Looks like someone left a slug in the deer. Holy cow. Now the final step is to always check to make sure that the esophagus and the trachea and the anus are still intact. So from the looks of this, the deer's anus is out, but unfortunately his esophagus and trachea are not. Usually if you're going to take out the anus, all you need is a handsaw to cut right in the middle of the pelvis bone, so that way you can remove it along with the bladder. So we're going to go ahead and take the handsaw, and we're going to saw right across the chest like this. You always want to make sure you go right at the very middle. There will be a bone where the esophagus and trachea run through. There we go. Slice the bone. Now moving on to the final step is removing the esophagus and the trachea. Oh, way to go. Need the long john for this task. There we go. So we're going to take a long john or any type of butchering knife. We're going to slice down the neck like this. And we're going to look carefully. See this little tiny pink tube right here? That's the esophagus. We need to remove that along with this. So we're going to go ahead and cut the rest of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to look carefully around here. We're going to take off all this edible meat. And then with the esophagus right there, just cut slightly below that area. There we go. Now we can pull it off. Just double check to make sure everything's out. And there's still some pieces in there. There you go, guys. Now all you need to do left. Alright, so there you go. Now all you need to do now, final step, is hang it on a cart or gambrel, and that way you can wash it out with a hose. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and comment down below and tell me any hunting stories you have. Make sure you also subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to get notified about my latest videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on the Sportsman.